Can former powerhouses be restored to glory? That's what Holo Forms is about. Can we take older units and equip new skills, use a currency that they give us 3-4 times a year, and get a usable unit out of it? There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about here, but first, let's get into Young Hector.
Me lose?
Young Hector is all about Dons, and they were incredibly powerful when he came out. I remember him absolutely soloing maps. On his own, he would be just an Omni tank, and it would be incredible. He was a lot of fun to watch, and then nukes got stronger, as they do. The other thing that happened was piercing. The big thing you want to take out of this is still a very usable kit, and in particular, Ostia's Heart is still decent. I don't have you replacing that in anything here, but of course, the thing you want to do is put Shield Fighter on there because that's the most powerful skill in the game right now. Let's look at a couple use cases. Just like Edelgard, I have the near save, the far save, and of course, the score bot. If you're comparing him to Brave Edelgard, 766 is significantly higher, and this unit can absolutely still be used in Arena if you have him merged up. What I wanted to make a point with this, and you can of course use a near save on this unit, but one of the things you can do right now with armors is put the Celica seal on them and make them nukes. So keep that in mind for some of these units. This is not something you want to do every time, but for this unit, it works pretty well. He can fly across the map at least 5 spaces and absolutely smack things. The other two, though, are probably going to be the ones that most people are looking at, because I don't know a whole lot of people that have him at +10. We have the near save and the far save build. So, near save build, obviously, you've seen this before. Close Defense 4, Pavis, and of course, Shield Fighter. Shield Fighter is where everything keys off of. Now, you guys let me know in the comments, and I needed to bring this up. Lorathor is coming in a matter of weeks, and we're going to have some interesting strategies that we have to work around with our save balls from there. But I still think that's going to be possible. So I don't think Shield Fighter is going to be completely nerfed. I think they're going to soft nerf it, but we shall see. Still, this is a tried and true build that works very well. The far save build works less well. I'm going to show you sims for both, but I am a bigger fan of him in the near save capacity. Right off the bat, you'll notice that this unit doesn't do as good as Brave Edelgard, and if you've got a choice between those two, your Forma should probably go to Brave Edelgard at this point. The thing you can look at, though, if you think back to Hardy Fighter stayed good for a long time, and I predict the same for Shield Fighter, and that might be nice when this unit finally gets their refine. You're playing the refine lottery, though, and I usually like bird in the hand. But this is interesting. Carla's a great matchup. Felix, he actually does well, but again, Shield Fighter is the way to do well against Felix. Ecthenir absolutely shocked me, but he should stop shocking me because of how hard he hits. I did have an Alphonse matchup as well, but he did fairly decently. It was a neutral matchup there. The Sigurd one is what hurts, though. And as a near save, you have to be able to go up against both Felix and Sigurd. And keep in mind, this was with Stone Vein terrain and still just couldn't cut it. Sigurd hit too hard for him on this one. So you'll have to find some other way to take care of Sigurd if this is the unit you want to go with. For far save, we're seeing a lot of the same thing here. The issue that you keep running into is Shield Fighter doesn't really offer you any killing power, and this is in the context of Aether raids. You really want to be able to take out those units, and he just flat can't on some of these, particularly Agreen and Fagato just don't cut it. What I will say is the neutral matchup between Lucina and Bernadetta is very nice, and they are the more common units you're going to see on air defense as opposed to Agreen and Fagato. So this unit can still be used there. And also remember, this is an Astra season. Astra season is much, much harder than Light. If you want to use this unit in Light season, I think you've got a much better chance with a lot better support. So just keep that in mind. As far as the different skills to support those builds, for Near Savior, it's Shield Fighter, period. If you get Shield Fighter, you can usually work around other things. You have near saves in the codes. Close Defense 4 is probably the best A skill just for pure near save, but understand there are a lot of other things that you can inherit on here. Armored Blaze is really just because it's there. If you get Shield Fighter and you want to use this unit, you can do that. That is just the key skill. For Far Savior, keep in mind he already comes with Armored Beacon, so I didn't worry about that. Ruptured Sky is just another option. I am a fan of Stronghold. The resistance to panic is very nice, and I think overall we would be using this more if it wasn't on Hathran. But again, Shield Fighter. Get Shield Fighter. That is the thing. Then we have Arena, and I showed you the build we had there. The interesting thing there is pairing this with Bold Fighter, how much damage you can actually do. Most likely you're going to be proccing that Armored Blaze, and this unit is very hard to kill, and so I can actually go in, smack things, and then sit there and take a hit or two. So this is a fun way to build this unit for Arena if you do have a +10. As far as the build I'd look for, it would be this one because I just think near saves are more valuable right now, and I do think he can serve a purpose there. And again, if you're in light season, I think he can be very strong in that role. Just Astra season is really tough right now, and I don't think he is quite good enough to hold up there.
Do not underestimate me.
Lyn is a very interesting unit, and honestly, a fan favorite for a lot of folks. I've seen a lot of these merged up, and there are a lot of different ways you can use this unit. This unit still gets a ton of speed and has a lot of interesting things in the kit that you can work with. She also offers just a bit of support with the times pulse that's spread between her and all the other units around her. Just make sure you remember that she needs to be within 4 spaces of an ally. That is very, very important. She likes to be around multiple allies as well, which makes her excellent for one of these roles. Let's look at this. So, right now, I've got the Omni Tank role here, and this one is a little harder for her, and we'll get into it, but I still think this is a very good kit. Lagoo's Friend 4 is good. I know, surprise. Gust. We need to talk about Gust, and I guess I should bring this up here. Gust versus Godlike Reflexes is kind of like Resonance versus Occultist Strike. It is 1 or 2 damage better, but it is not significantly better. So just keep that in mind. She can work around both of those very easily. Creation Pulse, though, is a lot of fun on her, and as long as you can get debuffs on the enemy, can really do some damage. As far as the the Arena build, 762 is very usable, and honestly, she does really well in Arena, so this is something fun you can do, particularly in that same role that I was talking about with Hector, with the Celica Seal, and this unit flies across and smacks something. Now, be careful. I said that, but don't forget that she really, really likes friends around her. So you've got to be careful that you can follow that up with enough people around her so that she can survive. It's something to keep in mind with Lyn. She's very, very codependent. Let's look at the Sims, though. Okay, and this is what I want to talk about. As an air tank, she just comes short, and this doesn't properly demonstrate how close some of these matchups are. But as an Omni tank, I am not the biggest of fan, and this is also in light season. So I saw this, and she's losing to everyone but Felix, and that is not insignificant. That is something you can work with. This unit can outspeed Felix. That's huge. That is a big, big deal. So the question is, what do we do with that? This is a pretty standard light season defense here. Let's move on and just change her to a melee frontliner, and so have a Far Savior behind her, and that is kind of spectacular. You notice the difference here is all it is that bonus doubler seal. Like, she needed just a little bit more, and this happened. Now, I know she only has 6 HP left versus Sigurd, but if you think about her also having Breath of Life support, it means she's going to survive versus most of these matchups. Carla. We talked about Felix, which is fantastic. She's not going to kill Alphonse, but it's really hard to kill Alphonse. The bigger thing in there is she's going to survive and he's going to scurry off, and even if he gets to hit again, he's still not going to take her out. This is pretty fantastic though. Lyn as a frontliner is very viable, and if you love this unit, this is a way that you can get to use her. So what I'm showing up here is the different skills for the different builds just to support them. Frontliner in particular, I want you to look at with Lagoo's Friend 4. I've got Attack Speed Excel. I tried a ton of other things, and honestly, you're just going to want to stick with Verdict of Sakai. It's still very good, but Attack Speed Excel is fun, but I want to make sure you know that the skill you need to get is Lagoo's Friend 4. I also really like Creation Pulse on here, and I would prioritize those two. Keep in mind that we talked about it, but Godlike Reflex is something that you can still use if you don't find Gust. The other builds here, we've got the Arena bonus, and I've got Bonus Doubler 4 up there because, as you guys know, it's my absolute favorite thing ever. Just remember what we had up there, and I do like that same build that you're using for Frontliner as the Arena bonus. This is just some other things you could target, like No Quarter and Reopening and Breath of Life. I'm still a big fan of the Frontliner build, even in Arena. And then the Grab Bag is all of the extra little things you can look at. D-Bonus Doubler is something you can possibly look at. Buffer 4 is also an upgrade to what she originally had, but I'm not sure how well it stands up right now. And the other thing is, if you're trying to use this unit in Summoner Duels, Firm Kendo Curb Stomp is not bad at all. And keep in mind, most of the time when you're going to be using her, it's going to be under Might of Myriad season, and that means you get DC for free along with some extra stats. So Firm Kendo Curb Stomp is not a bad way to go on this unit. If you're looking for what I'm going for, obviously it's that Frontliner build. I think that is absolutely spectacular and a lot of fun for you folks who love this unit. I love to see units gain momentum and be able to be used again.
Here comes the magic.
Nino is a fascinating unit, and the big thing about her is her mobility. The ability to go over terrain is really nice. She gets a lot of extra stats, but the one extra movement along with that, the damage reduction at this point just means next to nothing, but still, there are a lot of interesting things about this unit. The hard part with her is that nukes have a hard time right now because Shield Fighter exists. So that is something that you have to worry about a lot with Nino. This is a unit that was in the mold of Yuri, where Yuri didn't have a lot of killing power, but the fact that he could get there in a lot of different ways often allowed you to pick at the enemy and make some matchups that helped you win. That is harder to do right now, but let's look at some use cases. Nino made me work for this one, and where I ended up sitting with her is that same place with Lysithea, where using her in Arena Assault. And this is kind of an interesting build here. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the stuff people have been doing with Brave Bernadetta, where they end up putting Miracle on her. I've seen the same thing actually with Lucina as well. And there are some interesting things that come about, but the biggest one is you get that fourth hit off, which can really hit Shield Fighter units hard. And keep in mind, a lot of these units have a ton of damage, just Shield Fighter is really, really good. So this is the Miracle build. You need Emblem Marth and Flash Sparrow to really make this work. The thing I want to notice between these two builds, Occultist Strike and Resonance 4, actually on both of these, it was an utter wash. You notice the HP is kind of low on this unit. It degrades the performance of Resonance 4. That 1 or 2 damage that you normally get more with Resonance 4 is just completely erased. So whichever one you get and whichever build you get, don't worry about it. You'll be just fine with either of them. You will notice that she already comes with Times Pulse 4. I'd probably go with Pulse Up Blades, but in this particular build, it was nice to show that you just need cooldown in order to get that Miracle to proc. The AoE, I mean, that's self-explanatory. This is going to sound weird, but 75 attack isn't quite what it used to be, which is nuts because that's so high. The bigger problem is the lack of true damage in the rest of the kit, and we don't have any of the sly skills yet, and so it is harder to get some of the AoE damage that was once much, much easier because of all the different ways that you have to resist it right now. But let's look at some sims here, and you'll notice now, again, this is Arena Assault, and she's not going to take out Fjorm, but she does survive. And that is something. The thing you want to notice there is with Nagi, she just gets destroyed. Just absolutely demolished. So Nagi is really, really good, especially in Arena, and this is not going to be the unit that you use to tackle that one. But she does take out Marnie and Myrrh, so this is a way that you can use this unit if she is one of your favorites. The thing that I don't like about this is because it is dependent on Catria. It means that you, of course, have to keep the formation where you have 2 units around you. It takes away some of the mobility advantages you have with Nino. And keep in mind, she was more built as a defense unit. Defense units don't want Kanto, and so she didn't get any of that. That is not fantastic on her, and it doesn't use her to her fullest extent, but for now I think this is something that works until we get more skills that do more damage to Shield Fighter, which God help us, I don't know what that's going to be, but it's going to be ugly. Let's look at the Hollow Form skills. The first one is the nuke we talked about. We talked about how Occultist Strike and Resonance are swappable. Either one is just fine. I prefer Flare, but Ruptured Sky is just fine as well. On this unit, again, you're going to be using 2 different specials, so it's really whatever you prefer. We had Times Pulse in the sea, but I really do prefer Pulse Up Blades. I think Pulse Up Blades is just the better way to go, and this is a way that you can still use this unit in the meta right now. If you're asking for my preference, it is 100% the Miracle build. I think that is a great way to use her right now in conjunction with Catria, and we've talked about it before, but Catria has picked up some value. Even if she's not necessarily being used in Aether Raids, I think there are a lot of ways that you can still use her and honestly get a lot of strength out of your units that way. She has always been the great equalizer.
I'll get stronger.
When you are comparing young Eliwood to legendary Eliwood, there are some things. I mean, they both give out bonus doubler and null panic. That's nice. But you also get Kanto out of legendary Eliwood. But young Eliwood isn't seasonally locked. And young Eliwood has more hitting power. Your preference usually depends on where you're going to use this unit. The biggest thing with both of them is that bonus doubler is not quite as powerful as it once was, and that's tough. So this unit is still a very good support, but he's not elite by any stretch of the imagination. He's not someone that you're going to go out and summon for right this second, but he can be a very good addition to your team, and the biggest reason is you don't have to be next to a unit or dance a unit in order for them to get bonus doubler. That can be a problem if you're talking about someone like Loki, though, where Loki can steal those bonuses at the end of the turn, whereas someone like Mirabilis can dance someone, give them bonus doubler, and they can have that mid-turn instead of having it taken away. You can see the conflict there. There are a lot of things to think about because this game has gotten complicated. I'm going to skip right to the actual holoform skills, though, and I think you can kind of see where I'm going with each of these. The first is the cleanup unit, and all of these are going to be generally further away from wherever you go, and you're probably going to have something like Smite in the assist. This first one has the intent of being able to destroy units late game as opposed to early. Normally the Breath of Life user is gone at that point, and that means Flared Sparrow and Assassin Strike is very, very good along with No Quarter. This unit can hit somewhat hard. He can hit cleanup hard. So that is a way that you can use this unit that's a lot of fun. The other I have is the Smite bot, as if these others wouldn't be, but being able to smite a unit in and be able to use Speed Defense Link, as well as being able to use Shadow Shift. Keep in mind, Shadow Shift has to have Kanto of some sort, so you're going to have to run Sigurd Ring to really make this work. This is a neat way to get a lot of mileage out of this unit. As far as the other stuff, I mean, Momentum 4 is a lot of fun, and this kind of sets up for an AoE build if you want to do it that way, or you could put No Quarter on there. I've got Aether on there because it's just another special you could look at, but Verge of Death, Odd Defense Wave, I mean, these are fun skills to get on these units, and this one's a lot of fun. I will say there's one other thing that I didn't mention here that you could get, and that's Wings of Mercy 4. That is something that can be very valuable if you're wanting to use this unit as a Gale Force unit, which is a very viable way to get this unit into your game. So basically that would be a mix of some of these other skills just with Wings of Mercy 4 on there. If you're looking at what I would most likely target, I think this unit is best working with raid bosses of some sort, and I like the idea of having this unit as a smite bot that is able to use speed defense link 4, which is better than most people give it credit for, and you kind of have a lot of fun with stuff like that. So keep that in mind. This is still a very fun way to use this unit. So I thought about not putting this up here because there really is a lot of shuffle in these banners right now. The remix banners are going crazy and everything is all moving around willy-nilly. You saw that we didn't get Ninny in this time around, which I was very disappointed about, as I know you guys were as well. These are some possible options, and that is with a bigger asterisk than normal. We talked about Micaiah last time. That is about the time that she should get her Refine, so she may be on a banner for her Refine and not for Hall of Forms. That is something to think about. In March, though, that does look like it is coming through and looking like a Naga month. I know a lot of you have built up Nagas, and let me tell you, there are a lot of fun skills you can put on her. So that is a one to watch out for. If you want to revamp your plus 10 Naga, that is a great way to do it. And then we get into the weirdness. May is 3 houses, and we have Legendary Claude, Legendary Edelgard, and Legendary Byleth, as well as Arvel. I didn't put Arvel up here because I think these 3 are more likely. They've already gotten their refines and remixes, whereas Arvel hasn't. So this is interesting and would actually be pretty powerful. All of these can be usable if they have upgrades. Now, which one of these will it be, or will it be any of them? We don't know yet. That's all the way in May. But I wanted to tell you just so you guys could keep an eye on that. But then we have July. July is Heroes, and we have Thrasher, Dogger, and Thor. So Thrasher is usable, and if you've got her as a defense mythic, it is very nice to have her upgraded. She has some fun things she can get put on her, and I think she would be a good pickup. But Dogger and Thor are offensive mythics, and I think offensive mythics are fantastic pickups. Even if you already have them at plus 10, this is a way to get them more skills. If you don't have them at plus 10, it can possibly get you more merges for the cost of a Forma. And listen, offensive mythics are one of the only thing left that are good to merge. Like, we're really coming down to the wire on things that are actually, that they hold value when they're merged. Dogger and Thor are amazing units. I use my Dogger a lot, and Thor just got an amazing refine. If they came to be, that's an if. This is all speculation, but they do line up. That would be a very, very powerful Hall of Forms. Keep an eye on that one. Speaking of mythics, I just put out a huge 2.5 hour mythic tier list. Go check that out if you want more information on all of these units. Members, you are amazing and help me do so much with this channel. Thank you for all you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.